Good evening. First of all, I want to compliment Kurt Snell also and tell him that we're very happy that he got in here. It was fantastic. He's well deserved. A long time ago, there was a group of guys from Cedar Falls and Waterloo that got together and played on Thursdays. There were some golf pros. Mace played, Greg, Brad played a little, Norm Luton. And constantly, we would argue before it was all over. First of all, the pros played with no strokes, and they couldn't do that. They weren't that good, but we took their money. But anyway, and we took a lot of it, too, and it was fun. There were probably between 12 and 24 of us every Thursday played. Well, one guy got to learn the rules a little bit. And he said what really fired him up is some of the places he attended to learn about rules, but I think what fired him up was those Thursdays when something came up, he had the answer, and he was working real hard on it. And it was comical. This little book right here, there's been a lot of money lost and won with these rules in here, and a lot of arguments settled. And I was looking today at this thing, and I'm thinking, man, this is a lot to learn. I looked at the one at the pro shop, and it's got 600 pages in it. And I'm thinking, oh man, who can learn all that stuff? You know, you've got a guy here, Brad, who's on 4 of the biggest stages in the world as far as golf is concerned. He's got all 4 majors. He's got the Ryder Cup. He's one of 10 or 12 people in the world that's ever done all 5 of these, and that's quite an accomplishment. I think it'll be his 40th major this year after he gets done with the PGA. So it's quite a deal. He got started actually in Arizona. He played a little golf for Mesa Junior College on a scholarship, and he actually earned his PGA card at the age of 22, which was pretty young back in those days. He spent a lot of hours studying these things. I can remember working with Brad at Standard Golf on some products, and Brad was constantly studying. He said, "I'm gonna get on one of these rules, you know." And the one that he's on, the PGA of America Rules Committee, there's no pay for this. This is all volunteer, 100%. So he goes all over the world for them. He's done it for a long time, since '98. It's fantastic. The nomination was a little hard to fit. I don't think we'll probably ever have another person get this far up in the rules, in the rules of golf in the state of Iowa. It's amazing. He's done just a couple of things. He's done 12 Masters, 2 U.S. Opens, 3 Open Championships, 16 PGA Championships, 3 PGA Seniors, 2 U.S. Senior Opens, 5 Ryder Cups, and a Solheim Cup. And he's going to be doing 2 more majors this year before it's all over. He'll be over at the Open and also the PGA. He's authored about 20 articles for the PGA Magazine on rules. And he's done over 125 national and international championships. Some of the other things that you don't know about Brad, he has taken that test and scored a perfect score on the rules test, which is not. This isn't just a little test. This is something that I think that you got to work at to get 100%. But he's had 100% 8 times taking that rules test. They take it every year. He's done the last 5 in a row with 100% right on those rules. And I'm going to tell you, the guys over at the RNA and the USGA are not going to invite you unless you know what you're talking about. So, without anything else, I'd like to welcome that 20-year veteran of the PGA of America Rules Committee and the immediate past director of that committee, and the current director of rules for the NCAA Division I Championship, and my friend Gregory.
Well, thank you all, and Steve, thank you very much for the kind introduction. And yes, it's been a lot of fun. You know, I think it's fair to say that everybody goes through life and you make decisions and you just hope they work out, and with the help of friends and family, you know, you wish for the best. And yeah, sometimes your dreams come true, which they certainly have. This all started in Iowa in 1980, shortly after I received my PGA membership. You know, I was looking to build a resume, and that winter I met Ed Dolan, and Ed was looking for a head professional at the Red Carpet Golf Club in Waterloo, and you know, that was one of those leaps of faith. I just said, look, this is going to be a good deal. Let's go there. You know, the plan was come down for 1 or 2 years, you know, get some experience. I knew Ed could teach me a lot, and it ended up being a 20-year career. And Ed, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your expertise, your friendship, you know, instilling that nice work ethic that's, you know, helped me along the way. Thank you so much. A few years later, I made another critical decision, and that was to marry Sarah Voorhees. And this was one of those that was crystal clear. Those of you who know Sarah know she's an extraordinary woman, and Sarah, thank you so much for the 31 plus years, and we've had quite the journey, quite the adventure. Thank you very much. And early 90s, I had an opportunity to work part-time with Steve Tyler at Standard Golf Company, directing and working on some new products. And it was a great experience. Pete Voorhees, the owner, and Sarah, and I knew most of the sales staff, and it was a good deal. So I kind of split time between the Red Carpet and Standard Golf Company, certainly in the wintertime, a little more at Standard, but Pete, Sarah, Steve, thanks for the opportunity to learn that side of the business. It was a lot of fun. Very proud of those years. We developed some nice products. The day I'll always remember, Steve, is that day we assembled the Tour Smooth Rake prototype. And this was back at the old factory downtown Cedar Falls, and we took it into Pete's office. And Pete, the look on your face, the surprise, the joy. You know, Steve and I thought we had something special, and we did. You sold a lot of those rakes, and I'm just, again, so proud of those years and thankful for the opportunity to work there. Yeah, back, let's see, it would have been June 1994. Yeah, the PGA recertification period was about to expire, and myself, along with a few other fellow section professionals, needed some education points. Well, look at the education list, and there was a PGA, USGA Rules of Golf workshop coming right here to Cedar Rapids. And there were a few of us attended, Jerry. And it was a great experience. You know, 4 days, take the test, rules. How tough could this be? You know? Well, what really surprised me, and I think looking back, what really drew me to the rules was the challenge. You know, how tough it was. You know, this, you know, brought me back the next year. You know, and I thought, you know, learning these 34 rules has got to be easier than trying to shoot 68 or better, you know, every day to beat Kurt and Ken. You know, this could still make me relevant here in the section and help out with events. So that's the direction I took. And again, as mentioned, I went back the following year, and sure enough, after a couple of years of some nice test scores, in 1998, they appointed me to the PGA of America Rules Committee. You know, it was a surprise. It was a neat deal. And I have to thank Kurt Stanzel, gave me a nice recommendation. Those of you remember Jeff Lofstead and Troy, you know, with the Iowa section, gave me an opportunity to help with Iowa section events. I ended up being the rules chair for the Waterloo Open and the Iowa Open for a few years there to really gain some experience, and all that package helped getting on this committee. And I'll always be indebted to PGA of America, the tournament department, the leaders of the PGA of America Rules Committee. We have a couple of those here tonight. Don Essick, the past chairman of this committee, and his son Chip Essick, the current vice chairman of the committee. Look, it's been a lot of fun. And by the way, these two are Hall of Famers, PGA of America Hall of Famers, if you didn't know that. So thanks for coming over. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Steve told me I had to tell just one or two stories, so I'm going to do that. But, certainly 20 years of being a rules official, there's some memorable moments. One, 2010 PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. We're going back there again this year. Sunday, round 4. It was a tough rules day. We had a slow play penalty to Gregory from France. And look, this doesn't happen too often, but it does happen once in a while in professional golf. And so my assignment was scoring. So I was in there and kind of involved in that conversation. We also had Jim Fury, who had this golf glove that had a magnet in it. And I'm not sure if that was to hold a ball marker, to clasp it together or something. But anyway, this magnet came loose and found its way onto Jim's putter. And the question was whether this external attachment was there when he made a stroke or not. And so we were reviewing film for hours. And of course, Jim's out there tapping his fingers. When am I going to get an answer on this? He's in the hunt to win this event. Well, anyway, we finally get to him to get an answer. And there wasn't any conclusive evidence. It was actually there when he made a stroke. It could have happened before or after this particular putting green. But that wasn't the end of the day. Again, I wasn't scoring. Getting toward the end of the day, second to last group comes in. It's Rory McIlroy and a Chinese player. They sit down at scoring. We're inside one of the rooms in the clubhouse there at Whistling Straits. And we had a television there. I had it on mute. And they sit down and immediate focus goes to the television. Well, Dustin Johnson and his fellow competitor about ready to play their seconds into the 18th hole. And well, this is going to be the shot that either wins or loses it for Dustin Johnson. He has a one-stroke lead heading into that final hole. And so they're watching television, and I am also. And clearly you can see is in one of those 1,100 bunkers there at Whistling Straits. And to my surprise, when he set up to the ball, he didn't hover the club. He set it right down into the sand. And I was in shock, and I go, "Did you see that?" And Rory looked at me and he says, "I saw nothing." Anyway, I said, "Gentlemen, look, I've got to call this in." Because we didn't, at the time, we didn't necessarily have a television assignment, so I've got to call it in. Radio, Mark Wilson, who was our rules chairman. Mark Wilson come in. He says, "Go ahead, Brad." I said, "Mark Wilson, we've got a problem." And explained the incident as it unfolded. Again, that's when Dustin missed the par putt. So now he thinks he's in a playoff. Well, on the way off the putting green, that's when you see the famous picture of David Price, who was walking with the group that day with his arm around Dustin, saying, "Look, we may have a problem with your second stroke there from the bunker." And Dustin right away realizes that, yes, he went brain dead. And anyway, I remember him in scoring. He races to 5, puts a 7, and he kind of says, "Brad, where does that put me?" Well, we had 2 tied for first. Zach was in second with another player. I said, "Dustin, that puts you in a tie for 5th. So from winning the event to finishing 5th, the next thing he says, there's cameras right outside the window coming into the clubhouse. He says, "Is there another way out?" And I said, "Dustin, yes, I know you have time, you need some time to get your thoughts together." Mark Wilson took him out the front door into the player area where he could rest for just a minute before he faced the media. But pretty interesting day at Whistling Straits. 2 years later, had something similar. My assignment this day at Key Island was, this is again Sunday, last day, to walk with the last group. Well, after doing 18 holes of setup with our championship, Kerry Haig, it was hot, humid, dried off, changed my shirt, got presentable, met him on the first tee, off we go. Rory McIlroy, leader by 3, Carl Peterson, and Bill Haas. Waiting to play our seconds into the first hole. We're just 5 minutes into it. Here's Carl. Comes up out of the water hazard. You just hit it right, just into the water hazard and kind of some tall grass down there in the water hazard and KOL, to the right of number 1. Says, Brad, see the tall grass? He says, am I allowed to touch that grass? And I said, Carl, yes, you're allowed to touch anything growing. Just don't set the club down into the grass. Your ball's in the hazard. You don't want to ground the club. Got it. Goes back. He's ready to play a second shot into the first. Instead of kind of touching the grass and picking it straight up, which one normally would do there, he swings the club deep into the grass, and I'm 20 yards back behind him. And out of what I think I see is a small leaf about the size of a silver dollar pop up when he takes this backswing. And I'm going, boy, did I just see this? This is the first hole, Carl came out of the hazard. I approached him. I said, Carl, I need to talk to you. On your backswing, did you see anything unusual? He says, Brad, no, I touched the grass. I said, look, you're allowed to touch things growing, but to my eye, I thought I saw a leaf come up out of the grass. And he's going on. And I said, Carl, look, I'm going to call it in. I'm sure they have it. We'll let you know as soon as we can. Well, look, second hole, he's going, Brad. They haven't got back to him. So I'm sure it takes them a while. They go down and at CBS, they look at it on high def. And sure enough, and by this time, I'm thinking I'm seeing things. It was hot. I just was done working set up, so I've been out there for 6-7 hours already anyway. And sure enough, David Price comes out, who was the chairman that week, and said, yes, that's exactly what happened. Carl, you're going to have to add 2 strokes to the first hole. Well, unfortunately, this took Carl from a second alone down to tied for third, which meant about $500,000 at the end of the day. So that wasn't a good day for either Carl or I. And anyway, he doesn't send me Christmas cards. All right, probably the most memorable moment was the 2012 Ryder Cup at Medina. And this involves fellow Iowan, in part, Zach Johnson. The Ryder Cup, as far as the rules official goes, is the pinnacle. It's the best. We tell our rookie referees, please remember, don't worry about those hundreds of cameras are out there, those 50,000 people yelling and screaming, or the 600 million people at home with their DVRs, taping every move you make. I'm sure any mistake will go unnoticed. Well, here it is, 2012, Medina. It's Saturday afternoon, day 2. There's one match left on the course. It's a 4-ball match. Zach, Jason Duffner, Rory McIlroy, Ian Poulter. And look, I've had 3 previous matches with Ian Poulter, and he's won all 3 of them. I mean, in the Ryder Cup, he's unbelievable. Well, Zach and Jason are playing well. 12 holes, they're 2 up. Now, if they win this match, the U.S. goes up 11-5 going into the singles. Now, no team has ever relinquished that lead, 11-5. Well, 13th hole, par 3, 245 over the water. Rory hits it on, rolls it in for birdie. Yeah, Europe is now just 1 down. Then it was Ian's turn. Ian birdies 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 to win 1 up. And his expressions, he was holding these putts, and of course the European fans were just yelling and screaming, and he was too. He'd clench his fist and just yell, ah! Rory would just, he was just mystified. He was just saying, way to go, partner, just laughing, U.S. side was just shaking their heads, walking to the next tee. He did it to us again. Michael Jordan was walking with the group, and he was trying to stare Poulter down to get him out of this zone. It was quite the circus. And if you've been to a Ryder Cup, it's just amazing. It's unlike anything else. It's exciting. It's probably one of the greatest performances in Ryder Cup history to birdie the last 5 holes to win 1 up. And now, Europe goes into Sunday just down 10-6. well, I think every golf fan remembers Sunday. Rory about misses his starting time, thinks it's an hour later than it was. You know, the fans around the first tee, you know, were chanting, "Where is Rory?" You know, as he pulls up in a police car, you know, 10 minutes prior to his starting time. So he's out there. That day I was assigned the 12th match, the last match, Tiger Woods versus Francesco Molinari. And, you know, we go off and you're thinking, well, you know, this probably might not matter, but, you know, they're playing hard. And you can see as the day's going on, you know, the scoreboard, it's tightening up. It's tightening up. This is going to matter. And not only was the scoreboard tightening up, the players were. 15th hole, we had drivable, almost 3-wood. Yet, both Tiger and Francesco hit 6-iron off the tee, so they, you know, wouldn't make that mistake of hitting it right into the water. It was interesting. We get to the 18th hole, we're standing in the fairway, and this is when Martin Keimer makes the putt to secure the Ryder Cup for Europe. And I was just standing a few feet away from the European captain, Jose Maria, and you could feel the emotion. I mean, this was, it was coming out. The European team wore Seve's trademark white shirts, navy pants. They had a silhouette on their golf bag. Seve had just passed away the year prior. And you could see him, you know, crying, you know, looking at the sky. It was an unbelievable moment for Jose, his Seve's longtime Ryder Cup partner and good friend. You know, those are just a few of the moments that have been part of this wonderful journey. And it's certainly been a pleasure, you know, having friends and family, you know, and this honor, you know, Iowa Golf's highest honor. I just want to thank you so very much.